All right, this is Skills Homework 3-3. Let's look at it. Most of this is setting up proportions and finding percents. So let's look at it. Number 1, Jane took a test. The test had 130 questions. All of the questions have an equal value. She answered 104 of the questions correctly. What percent did she answer correctly? Okay, we know percent means out of 100. So if I want to know what percent, that means how many out of 100. So it tells me she answered 104 out of 130, but I need to know how many out of 100. So there's nothing I can multiply or divide 130 by to get 100, but I could simplify here. So if I divide both of these by 2, I can simplify, and that would give me 52 over 65 equals x over 100. Okay, I can look and see if there's anything else I can simplify by. If not, then my last resort is to cross multiply. So that way gives me 65x equals 52 times 100 is 5200. So to solve for x, I'm going to divide by 65. All right, so now you go off to the side and do 5,200 divided by 65. Okay, it will come out as a whole number. So if you get a decimal, then you know that you messed up somewhere. Okay, it does come out nice and neat as a whole number. 65 won't go into 5, it won't go into 52. So you got to figure out how many times it goes into 520 and then finish it out. Okay. All right, number 2. Jane took a test. All the questions have an equal value. She answered 38 of the questions correctly. This was 95% of the questions. How many questions were on the test? Okay, it doesn't ask me for 95% of this. It tells me 38 is 95% of something. So 95% means 95 out of 100. Okay, then I have 38. 38 is the questions she answered correctly, and I want to know the total that were on the test. So 38 is going to go on top, and x is going to go down here because I want to know how many are on the test. All right, I don't know what I do to 95 to get 38, but I do know that I could simplify here. So if I divide both of these by 5, that would give me 19 over 20. All right, see how many times 19 goes into 38 and multiply that by 20 to get your answer. Number 3, Jane took a test. There are 60 problems on the test. All of the questions have equal value. Jane answered 55 of the questions correctly. How many did she answer correctly? So we're wanting 55% of 60. So if we want the percent, we just change the percent to a decimal and multiply. So if we change this to a decimal, it would be 0.55 times 60. That'll be my answer. I don't add or anything. That's my answer. Don't forget, after you get it, you need 2 numbers to the right of the decimal point, because your problem has 2 numbers to the right of the decimal point. All right, number 4. Tom and Susan went to dinner. They left a 15% tip. If the total cost of the meal was $28, what is the amount of the tip? So all I need is 15% of $28. Okay, I'm going to drop off those zeros. They don't matter, so there's no reason to keep those on there. So change the percent to a decimal and multiply. Think about it. Your tip has to be less than $28. If you get a number bigger than $28, then your decimal point's probably in the wrong spot somewhere. So when you get finished, you need 2 numbers to the right of the decimal point. So make sure your answer has 2 numbers to the right of the decimal point. All right, number 5. A wedding planner sent out 550 invitations. Of the people invited, 429 attended. What percent? That means how many out of 100? So 429 out of 550. I want to know how many out of 100. Okay, I have no idea if there's anything I can divide both of those by. They're not even. They don't divide by 2s. They don't divide by 5 or 10. So I'm just going to cross multiply. It'll be my last resort. So that gives me 550x equals 42,900. So I'm going to divide that. So I'll have 42,900 divided by 550. And if you have taken the time to watch this video, then grab your calculator and divide that. 550 won't go into 4, it won't go into 42, it won't go into 429, it will go into 4,290. So now you just divide that and see what you get. All right, number 6. A market buys mixed nuts at $15 per pound. They want to make a 20% profit. What would you pay for 1 pound of nuts? Okay, so if I find 20% of this, that's only the profit. So after I find the profit, they want to know how much I would pay. So that means they're going to take the $15 and add the profit to it to get my answer. So we want to put this on here so we don't forget that we have to do that. When I find the 20%, I'm not done. So I'm going to find 20%, which means I'm going to change this to a decimal and multiply, which if it's 0.20, you could just do 0.2. Okay, after you get this answer, add it to the $15. Don't forget your decimal point. So after you multiply, you got one number to the right of the decimal point. And then when you finish, add it to $15 to get how much you would pay. This right here is the profit. So we have to add the profit to the original price that the market buys it for. All right, number 7, what is the annual interest for principal at $3,500 at simple annual interest rate of 2.3%? So interest is principal, so that would be $3,500 times rate. This is my rate. You have to change it to a decimal. It has a decimal point in it, but it's not a decimal. It's a percent. So remember, we got to go to the left. So multiplied by 0.023. And then time, well, this just says annual, so it's just 1 year. So this is all I have to do. But when you get finished, again, you need 3 numbers to the right of the decimal point. So your answer needs 3 numbers to the right of the decimal point. So 3 times 0 is 0, 3 times 0 is 0, 3 times 5 is 15, 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. Now for the 2, you're starting right here. So remember, you have to put a 0 placeholder and then start right there on the 2. Number 8, a student spends $48 on school supplies at a store where sales tax is 7%. What is the total cost of the supplies? So if we find 7% of 48, that's the tax. We're not done. It asks for the total cost. So after you find the tax, you have to add it to get your total. Don't forget that part. You're not just looking for the tax. After you find the tax, you've got to add it because it asks for the total cost. Okay, so to find the tax, remember, if we're looking for 7%, we change the percent to a decimal and multiply. You've got to move it to the left So don't just multiply by 0.7, you have to multiply by 0.07. All right, number 9. Surprise, if you're watching this video, then you get to skip it. Don't tell anybody. So omit means skip it. So write the word omit here, and I'll know that you watched the video. But if anybody asks you about it, don't tell them. Okay, that's your prize for watching the video. All right, number 10. Kevin's insurance will increase every pay period by 5%. If the new cost will be $28.88, what was the original cost? Okay, well, it increased to this, so that means it started less than that. So D does not make sense at all. Okay, so we're not increasing this by 5%. It says we increase these by 5%, and we want to know which one gives me $28.88. So there's many ways to work it. I say we just take $26, which I'm going to drop off this 0.00, and we 5% of that. So change the percent to a decimal and multiply. Two numbers to the right of the decimal point, that's $1.30. So if it increased by $1.30, that would be $27.30. So that's not my answer. So it's either A or C. Now, if I tried this and all I got was $27.30, that means to get $28.88, I have to go higher than $26. So pick which answer is higher than $26. Okay, I know this was a hard homework. I'm glad you watched the video. Hope it helped, and hope you can get 105 on it. Good luck.